But honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements where they say, "I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe," I say either give it back or shut the fuck up. AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun.
Bill Maher just took a group of woke-elites to task, and he didn't hold back. These are the same people who claim to love America, yet their actions tell a very different story. Maher wasn't having it. He dropped truth bombs so powerful they left the woke left scrambling. So what exactly sparked Maher's reaction, and how hard did he hit back? I've got every blistering moment right here. Buckle up. Things are about to get intense.
That is what's so odd about this time that we're living in. For all the talk about fighting for the soul of America, nobody seems to like it very much. Too many liberals give the impression that to them, America is just a big, ugh. The red, white, and ew. A country that started out bad and will always be bad, founded on an unrelenting history of sucking.
His first shot was aimed squarely at the woke liberal leaders who seem to view America as the worst place on earth. Maher didn't just roll his eyes at their negativity. He was fired up. What really pushed him over the edge was how their toxic rhetoric is shaping the next generation. Instead of encouraging young people to fix what's broken, these so-called progressives are filling them with hopelessness, bitterness, and a lack of pride in their own country. When kids grow up believing their nation is beyond saving, what reason do they have to protect it, improve it, or even care about it? That trend frustrates Maher deeply, and what he said next just might leave you speechless.
We have changed a lot. Democrat Cori Bush tweeted, "This land is stolen land and black people still aren't free." And this was on the 4th of July. Really? Not that I give a shit about the 4th of July. I've never been a rah-rah guy. But I am a perspective guy. And that's what too much of the left has lost, perspective. 72% of black people under 30 are optimistic about their future in America. Way more than white people the same age. And as far as the land goes, yes, I guess we could change the name of Captain America to Captain Stolen Land.
Maher first sets his sights on Cori Bush, and he doesn't hold back. To him, Bush and much of the progressive left have lost perspective, caught up in identity politics and steeped in a kind of self-defeating rhetoric. Maher argues their worldview isn't rooted in facts anymore, but in feelings and ideological illusions. They ignore inconvenient truths and instead craft narratives designed to fuel division and grievance. Even worse, their grandstanding often amounts to nothing more than symbolic gestures. Loud but empty, with no real substance or solutions. The result? A missiled generation, a divided nation, and a political movement so trapped in its own echo chamber, can't see the harm it's doing.
Honestly, to all the people who start every public event now with one of those land acknowledgements where they say, "I'm standing on land that was stolen from the proud indigenous people of the Chumash tribe," I say either give it back or shut the fuck up.
Maher drops a second truth bomb, one practically designed to send the woke crowd into a frenzy. He says it's not enough to keep chanting that America was built on stolen land. If you truly believe the land was taken unjustly, then stop the virtue signaling and get it back. Don't just post hollow declarations or add land acknowledgements to your social media bio while continuing to live comfortably on the very ground you criticize. Maher calls out that hypocrisy. You can't label your ancestors as criminals while benefiting from what they built and refusing to make any real sacrifices yourself. This kind of performative guilt doesn't help the people it claims to support. It only feeds outrage theater. Maher's challenge is simple but cutting. If you really believe what you're saying, act on it. If not, admit it's just another trendy slogan in a cycle of selective moral outrage. And if you thought his takedown of Cori Bush was intense, wait until you hear what he says about AOC.
AOC says so many people in this country hate women. Oh, geez. Even the guy at the party who pulls out a guitar is like, way to ruin the fun.
Sometimes you have to wonder if AOC is even aware of what's happening outside her activist echo chamber. Sure, America isn't perfect. But let's be honest. Women here can vote, drive, run businesses, speak freely, and wear what they choose without fear. That's not just freedom, it's real power. Now compare that to parts of the Middle East, where women are forced to cover up, can't leave home without permission, and are even imprisoned for removing a headscarf. So when AOC says that America hates women, you have to ask, what reality is she living in? Her statements ignore the harsh oppression many women face around the world and downplay the very real rights and freedoms women already enjoy here. Maher argues this kind of rhetoric doesn't just mislead, it distorts young minds, making them think they're trapped in a dystopia instead of appreciating the progress they already benefit from.
Congressman Jamal Bowman says capitalism is slavery by another name. No, it's not. It's the thing that has given more people more prosperity and hope than any other system, flawed though it surely is. But
Jamal Bowman and Bernie Sanders love to talk about taking down the oligarchy, but let's not ignore the obvious. Their own party is filled with elites. If they're truly serious about challenging elite control, maybe they should start by calling out the billionaire power players funding their side. Take George Soros, Michael Bloomberg, and Reid Hoffman, major Democratic donors with deep pockets and even deeper influence. These aren't just wealthy supporters. They help shape policy, bankroll campaigns, and steer public opinion. Yet Bowman and Bernie often leave that part out when promoting their anti-capitalist message. Maher points out the clear hypocrisy. How can you rage against billionaires while standing on a stage funded by them? If you're serious about fighting elite control, stop pretending it only exists on the other side. The reality? Both parties have their power players, but only one keeps claiming their billionaires are somehow morally pure.
Something like the free market is kind of synonymous with America. And if you don't like it, I don't know how you can say you love this country. You know who loves this country? You know who's not constantly complaining about what happened 200 years ago and who's not obsessed with seeing America through shit-colored glasses and shaking off the stench of what irredeemable, privileged assholes we are? Immigrants.
Exactly. If America is truly irredeemable, cruel, and broken beyond repair, then why are people around the world sacrificing everything just to get here? Why are families in Africa, Asia, and South America scraping together their life savings, sometimes surviving on less than $1 a day, just to have a chance at setting foot on American soil? They're not chasing a fantasy. They're chasing opportunity, freedom, and hope. That fact alone speaks volumes. The loudest critics of this country often forget how the rest of the world sees it, not as a dystopia, but as a beacon. If America is so terrible, why are migrants risking everything, crossing deserts, oceans, and borders, just to reach it? Maher's point is simple. Yes, America has flaws. But the freedom to openly criticize those flaws only exists because of the very liberties this country provides. And that contradiction is one the woke crowd continues to ignore.
Ask any of them why they came here, and they will tell you the same thing. Ron DeSantis put me on a plane. But they will also tell you that America, for all that's so shitty about it right now, is still the last best hope. And those people asking for our votes to take it over should remember that.
If Democrats have any real interest in reclaiming power in 2028, they need a serious reality check. America, flaws and all, is not the dystopian nightmare they so often describe. The constant negativity, the doom and gloom messaging, and the repeated attacks on the country's history and values didn't land in 2024, and it cost them. Voters saw through the self-critical narrative, the outrage theater, and the endless lectures. They weren't looking for pity, they were looking for pride, and they voted for Trump. If Democrats want a real shot in 2028, they need to show genuine respect and appreciation for this country, not just in speeches, but through visible, consistent action. Patriotism isn't outdated, it's expected. Americans want leaders who build up the nation, not tear it down. The sooner they realize that loving your country isn't a betrayal of progress, but the foundation of it, the sooner they can begin earning back the trust they lost.
I think you can believe that you could have shorter elections in America, but it's not like we don't know. In Britain, for instance, when you have a short election, it's not like you don't know who the leader of the party is for months and years before that.
But you're either the person who's Googling the day before, did Biden drop out? or you know in a week. You know, did anyone in this audience not know enough about Kamala Harris pretty much after a week to make a decision? Yeah, it just people.
How are you
it's ridiculous. We just get sicker of them.
Here, Maher takes direct aim at an MSNBC pundit who claimed Kamala Harris simply needed more time for voters to understand her before last November's election. Maher wasn't buying it, not for a second. He fired back, saying voters did get to know Kamala, and that was the problem. It wasn't a lack of exposure. It was a lack of connection. According to Maher, Harris's messaging wasn't just unconvincing. It was out of touch, driven more by ideology than practicality. Her policies, he argued, often defied common sense and showed little connection to real-world experience. Americans aren't looking for lofty platitudes. They want results. And when Harris spoke, it too often sounded like a script crafted in a progressive think tank, not a message meant for everyday voters. Maher's verdict was scathing. The more voters saw of Kamala, the less they believed in her leadership. It wasn't more time she needed. It was a full political reset.
Oh, you consider yourself a liberal, right?
I consider myself an old school liberal. You have to make that distinction now because, you know, the word woke, which started out as a good thing, being alert to injustice, and a lot of people get triggered by the word because when they hear it, they think of it the old meaning, which was good.
Right.
You know, stay woke. But I'm sorry, language is a living, breathing entity. Words change and they migrate and they take on a different meaning. And woke now has to answer for, or for people have just used the word to ascribe a number of extreme things on the left.
Today, the woke left isn't just unappealing. It's becoming outright toxic. What may have started as a movement for justice and inclusion has shifted into a self-righteous, joyless space that's draining the energy from the broader left. It's no longer about real progress. It's about policing thought, silencing dissent, and punishing anyone who steps slightly out of line. As a result, many notable voices, comedians, intellectuals, and lifelong liberals are starting to walk away. Not because they've suddenly turned conservative, but because they no longer recognize the movement they once proudly belonged to. The side that once preached tolerance now leads public shaming campaigns. The one that used to champion open dialogue now shuts it down. Maher himself is a clear example of this shift, standing at the crossroads, sounding the alarm. The woke left hasn't just lost its appeal, it's lost its identity. And people are leaving before it collapses under the weight of its own contradictions. And that brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.